Control Alt and Delete 'em.
All right, joined by Rêve, which we're really excited about. First off, Rêve, I just want to say thank you for giving us Control-Alt-Delete because it is really fun.
Well, thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
And we are going to get to the song itself in just a little bit here. But because you've kind of recently exploded in popularity, I really just want to start by learning a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just like the important stuff in your mind.
Okay. Well, I am a dance pop artist from Montreal. I love making dance music, heavily influenced by 90s house. It's nostalgic in both like concept and in production. And I just, I want to make euphoric dance music for everybody. So that's a little bit about me.
Euphoric dance music. Well, I think that kind of fits with what we've heard so far.
Oh, awesome. I'm happy we're doing it.
So, what is like, I feel like you can learn a lot about somebody by how they hang out with their friends. What's like a night with your friends look like?
A night with my friends looks like sometimes an evening out.
Okay.
At a really, really good show, maybe a dance show at a really cool underground venue, or a night in and just a wild dance party. Sometimes those are the best nights. You get a good bottle of wine and some good food and a great playlist, and it's all about having fun with your crew.
But a club or a dance party at home, dancing either way, really.
Yeah, dancing is a non-negotiable.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So you mentioned obviously being, making music for a long time now. Like I said, I mean, exploded in popularity recently, but you must have been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I've been doing this ever since I can remember. I mean, I grew up in a really, really musical home. My mom and dad are both obsessed with different genres, but still with music. And we always had music, musical instruments lying around the house. Music was always playing. And I had this big upright piano in my house. And I remember just, dragging my Fisher-Price like xylophone down to this big upright and just like trying to match whatever was on my xylophone to the sounds of like the upright. And then I eventually graduated to the big piano and started, messing around on that. And I was never really, into sports. I was a theater kid. And I was never very, very good in school, if we're being honest. But music has just, been my therapist and been the one constant thing in my life. And it just always stuck.
Well, I ended up on the radio, so I also obviously not so into the whole sports thing. Definitely more into the theater drama side of things. What was piano your first instrument?
It was, yes.
Okay, all right. And high school band, you played the trumpet or something?
Yeah, I did.
Actually?
Yeah, I did play the trumpet horribly. And I played the flute as well. And it's funny because I couldn't figure out, like when I first started playing flute, like I couldn't figure out how to like position my mouth, because anybody who's played the woodwinds or anything with a reed, not that a flute has a reed, but you know what I mean? Like it's a weird mouth position. And I remember on my first exam thinking, I can sing into my flute and my instructor's not going to notice. And so that's what I did. And he was like, immediately no. But yeah.
Didn't even get close to pulling it off. Love it.
Yeah.
Control-Alt-Delete. First off, featured on FIFA 2022. That has got to be crazy cool.
It was crazy cool. It was such a surreal moment. I mean, and then seeing it in the game for the first time was also so super wild. It kind of came out of the blue. It was months before the song was even released. We just, took a shot and submitted it to EA, and they ended up loving the song. And there it was on the game a couple of months later. And it was just absolutely wild. Absolutely wild.
So it is kind of a submission process. Is it a bit nerve-wracking to submit stuff to like that, or?
I don't even think that my team told me that they were submitting it, because they knew that I would just be so full of anxiety every single day. So only once, the ball was rolling were they like, oh yeah, by the way, we submitted you for FIFA. Let's see what happens. And I was like, ooh, okay, I guess we just have to wait and see. But it ended up, working out, and I'm super grateful.
So now that it's actually in the game, do you get like a lot of feedback from big football, soccer fans, or video gamers?
Yeah, I mean, I've advertised it on TikTok a lot, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. You're my goal song. And I'm like, that's wild. That's crazy. Thank you.
Tell me about the song itself and what kind of led to the song's creation.
So Control-Alt-Delete is definitely more on the silly side of my catalog. So I spent most of the pandemic writing, ironically, a dance album, which was interesting in itself. But the first music that we started creating was rather serious and kind of about, it was very emotional. Like the song Still Dancing that I have, which was my first single, was about, coming out of isolation and finally getting with your crew again, and like just being free of like the dark place that we were in. And then Skin to Skin was darker as well. And we'd created like a bunch of records like that over like a week span. And then one day I came into the studio and I was like, guys, it's heavy. We need to do something light. Let's just have fun. If nothing comes out of this day, then so be it. But let's take a crack at something just obnoxious and silly and like very throwbacky, cheer chanty. Let's throw it all in the pot. And Control-Alt-Delete was born out of that just very fun day of saying, let's just have fun and break up this sadness a little bit.
So are you happy that that's the one that people love, the happy song?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like, especially in the last, I guess, almost 2 years now, we just need to take the happy where we can get it.
Yeah, for sure. So what's next? I mean, obviously, I know that you also have Still Dancing out, which I've listened to. It's a great song as well. But what's next for you? I've been following some of your stuff on TikTok, and it sounds like you're working on some stuff.
Yeah, so building an EP and also an album to follow, which will include some of the more fun, funky dance pops, but more of an emotional also side.
Yeah.
So trying to create a well-balanced record, and I can't wait to show people the more vulnerable side of me, and that's what's coming next.
Now that you've shown everybody kind of the dance fun side, show some more depth there.
Right.
Getting more personal, love of canned tuna is a thing?
Yeah, it is. I don't know what it is. Like I grew up having I was teased about this, but my mom had this recipe for tuna and pickles with mayo. And like, I think it's since I got it so often when I was a kid, it's become like a comfort food of mine. And I do still indulge quite a bit in the canned tuna. I have to admit. Some people are like, yes, I get it. And other people are like, that's like the spam of the sea. Like you can't eat that. It's not even refrigerated.
I can't say I'm a big fan myself, but I love that you're so into it. I mean, that's just passion right there.
Thank you. I could go on forever.
So with this most recent success that you've been seeing, what's changed? What are some things that have changed in your life?
Just honestly doing music more full time in my schedule. Like it's less on the creative, like I'm spending a lot more time in the studio, which is amazing. Like I used to just, spend so many hours in my room writing music, but now I'm with, so many different people so often, working on just meeting a bunch of people and collaborating on projects all the time, doing a lot more creative content creating every day, which is not something that, I was used to before, like really living online every single day, especially with TikTok and with IG. And that's what's changed the most.
And you'd mentioned isolation being a thing that we've all been through, but it's got to be fun to work with people in the studio, especially after that.
Absolutely. We did a lot of Zoom sessions throughout the pandemic, and there's just something about having an energy in the room that, like you can't match it online. It's just so special.
What have been kind of some of the cooler things that you've experienced with the success?
I think just getting into rooms with my idols, I was on a London trip recently to write, and like you pull up to this writing camp and there's people who, wrote Halo for Beyonce and Toxic by Britney Spears, and somebody who's like, yeah, I ghost produced the first Swedish House Mafia record. And that was like a record that I loved, like die hard loved. And you're just sitting there in awe of like just the talent around you. And that's been the most surreal thing, is to work with some of my idols.
Well, and they're just and they're not even name dropping. They're just talking about friends.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You've also seen your face in some interesting places. That's got to be weird.
So weird. I love it. Like, it was like, it's so surreal. I'm like, I can't believe that it's there. It's crazy.
We're about a month from Christmas now. Where are preparations at for you? Decorations, Christmas shopping? You ready to go?
I'm so behind. Like, I have to say, I'm a procrastinator. I do all of my shopping between the 20th and sometimes the 24th. What about you? Are you prepared?
No, I'm not prepared. I'm totally with you.
I know people who shop all year round. And I'm like, that takes commitment because like you're storing that stuff in your apartment for like months.
Well, and who even knows if they want it a year from now?
Right.
Like,
100%.
in your estimation, what's the best gift you've ever given somebody for Christmas?
Whew, that's a great question.
I know it's tough though. Sorry.
I think just experiences or like really personal things. Like I remember like the one time I did prepare for a Christmas gift, I got my dad art from Italy when I was traveling there that from like parts of, that meant a lot, parts of Italy that meant a lot to him. And I got it framed and it was like just meaningful gifts or like experiences, like knowing if somebody, really wants to go to a concert, getting them concert tickets is about buying something for somebody that they wouldn't buy for themselves, but that that they would just really love. And that would be really meaningful.
Moving back to the music side of things, performing live, do you have tours planned? Are you excited about that side of things?
I'm so excited. I'm planning my live show now. And there's so many great ideas, so many weird and wacky ideas that I can't wait to show everybody. So definitely in the new year, we're going to see some of that.
Cool. And you said like tons of dance music. Do you have like a lot of choreography going on?
It's not so much choreography, but using technology in weird and different ways to create a very dynamic live show. Because as much as like I had choreo, like bless my friend Pam, honestly, because she choreographed the video for Control-Alt-Delete. Yeah. But like I'm not the best dancer. Like I can two-step and I can like do some movements, but I'm like by no means like an actual dancer. But I'll overcompensate in the realm of just playing music, using technology. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can do, even if you are the dance artist who can't really dance. But yeah.
And then one final question for you. Rêve, what's the name come from? How do where'd that show up?
So Rêve is the French word for dream. And so I wanted to choose a name that really encapsulated the feeling that I wanted people to feel when they listen to my music. So it's less so in Control-Alt-Delete because it's a very upbeat kind of pop nostalgic song. But the rest of the record is very dreamy and very ethereal. And I really wanted to pick a name that really encapsulated that. And I tried to overthink it for a long time, but sometimes it's just better to keep it simple.
Well, I like it. It sounds great. And looking forward to some of the new music. Loving Control-Delete for now and still dancing. And we're excited to see where you go from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.